acknowledge you think that there's noises outside that are fighting you.
Okay.
Thank you, sweetie.
I have drawn all my life. My dad liked to draw, and so I had lots of material at home to draw with. However, I didn't paint, and so my mother said to me, Dorothy, I tell everybody that my daughter is an artist. I have not one picture to hang on my wall. and so I painted. But my first experience with watercolor was not very good. I was visiting in Kansas, and I had to go to school there 1 year. And for the art class, we drew an apple in a frame, and we watercolored. And the teacher held mine up as a bad example.
We don't believe it.
A messy painting. Anyway, so I never cared much for watercolor. I drew mostly, and as I said, my mother always said she never had anything to hang on her wall that I did. And she always told her friends I was an artist. Anyway, I started doing watercolor in high school. I had a very good watercolor teacher. And I liked her very much. But I have always been kind of a messy painter. I am just not a neat person. But in watercolor, you can be messy, and it looks okay. So I'm going to do an Indian baby, and because I do a little sketch, it's on a envelope. Anyway, I do a little sketch just to make sure I can do it, and then it took me an hour and a half to draw it, so I knew I couldn't draw it here.
Hold it up to Chuck.
I knew I couldn't draw it here, so I have my drawing all made. And
Did you have a photograph
no,
from your head?
just from my head.
Oh, boy. No shortcuts here.
No, and I've done Indian babies before, so I knew how. Okay, I have done so many oceans here, and some sunflowers. Now I thought I would demonstrate. I've demonstrated a lot, but I've never done a person. So I'm going to do this little Indian baby. It's kind of hard, but hopefully we'll make it through. And I like to start, I better not use that big brush. I like to start with the face, and when you think about doing faces, I always mix 3 colors, a red, usually alizarin, and yellow, ochre, and ultramarine blue, because we do have 3 colors in our body. We have the blood, we have the yellow in the skin, and the melanin. I don't know where it is, but in the skin, I think. But anyway, it always turns out better if you mix 3 colors. So I'm going to take alizarin.
Is that your favorite size brush?
This is my favorite brush, but with a face, it's very difficult to use, but if I use a landscape, this is a very old brush, and I have another brush that I've worn down to a nubbin, which is the same size. And I have hay fever, and I was hoping I wouldn't have to blow my nose, but.
Well, we'll all do it at the same time.
Right.
Anyway, it's an allergy. So I'm going to use yellow ochre and ultramarine and a little bit of the blue and come up with a brown. And I need a reddish brown, so I missed it the first time. Now, this is 300 paper. I never use 300 paper, but when I went to find something to draw this picture on, this is what I found. To me, I don't like to paint on it, but some people really like it.
And why don't you?
I don't know, because I'm used to painting on 140.
Oh, okay.
And, but I know that I should like this, I just don't.
We don't care.
So I'm wetting the back, and I did wet this last night, because 300 pound is kind of unforgiving. And I'm going to do the face color first. And so I'm wetting it just a little bit. When I first came to Crescent City, I was kind of fascinated by these baby baskets. I had never seen anything like it, so I had to have two of them made for my granddaughter, my daughter, and my daughter-in-law, who was pregnant at the same time.
Now, Dorothy, excuse me, do you still use the big brush for the face?
Just
There it is, the big brush.
it's the one I pick up.
Okay.
Okay.
So did your grandchildren sleep in the basket?
Yes. Uh-huh.
It looks like they wouldn't be able to walk when they finally got out.
Their legs are free.
Oh, it's just across their little chest that's
Yes.
constrained? Oh, I didn't know that.
Their arms are not free, but their legs are free. I've seen Indian babies later on that walk around, their arms are free, their legs are free, and they look like little turtles with the basket on their back.
Dorothy, you should paint that. Picture that.
When I first came, I worked with Indians of Northern California educational project through the school, and I became acquainted with people from Fupa, and it was very interesting.
So that was about 50 years ago?
In 64. That's how long I've been here. But my grandma was quite a bit Indian. And she used to tell me, Dorothy, don't you forget, you've got Indian blood in you.
Good for her. Will it bother you if I throw in little biographical
No.
tidbits about you? So,
Depends what it is.
Dorothy was one of the charter members of our club.
No, I was not.
Not charter, that's Doris Jalbeck's, but,
Yeah,
and
Early members.
our
I
early
was,
members.
I was an early member, yes.
But she has been a president twice
Oh, more than that.
a year. Every 10 years, Dorothy has been a president at least twice for the past 50 years.
Wow.
Well, thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Is that coming up again?
Good thinking.
Dorothy is one of the ones that has helped get this association to where it is today.
Wow.
Well,
I think that deserves a hand, yes.
I had a lot of help.
And you wrote grants for just
Yes,
about
I
everything
did.
in the gallery. Grants for the easels, grants for what?
Well, for the building too.
The whole building.
And she wrote the articles of incorporation, including the mission statement.
Yes, that's right.
And now I'm 90 years old and I don't do those things anymore.
Broke the habit.
Been there, done that, huh?
Yeah. Now I need to let that dry a bit.
Dorothy, you're an inspiration.
Oh, thank you. I like art. I've always enjoyed it. And I had it in the home at home. Not necessarily painting, but my dad did draw. And I've always enjoyed it.
And demoing doesn't terrify you like it does everybody else. If I have a last minute cancellation, I'll try one person after another. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, no, oh, that's terrifying. So I'm all Dorothy. She says, of course.
Wonderful.
The baskets are made out of spruce root, and it's dug out and split, and there's several different materials they use in this.
Are you using the same brown you used in the vase?
Yeah, it came up with the same thing in the. It's not really brown. I added some yellow ochre to it. The brown is in the shadow there, but the baskets are kind of yellow.
So it's not made from the same stuff that the baskets are made of? It's made of spruce root, you said?
Some of it is spruce root,
That's fascinating.
and some of it, I forget the rest. Anyway, I did take Lauren's basketry class, and I did make a baby basket, but somehow or other, my grandson had a dog,
Oh, no.
and he got hold of the basket. It's repairable. I just haven't ever done it. It's not a disaster, but I just haven't done it. This is mostly yellow ochre, and I'm going to have a little trouble with this drying, I think. Anyway, I shouldn't have wet it, but it goes on better when you wet it.
We don't have a hairdryer here, no.
That's okay.
There's probably one here if you want me to look for it.
No, this is fine.
Everybody take a deep breath.
The black hair, I don't have any black, but I do have a very dark blue. And so I'm going to put a little
And this is the first year that Dorothy hasn't taught children upstairs twice a week. And when I first met you 10 years ago, you said, yes, your children's classes sponsored your trip to Europe every other year. You treated yourself and your husband with a trip to Europe every other year.
Oh, that's true.
And my children are very sad that she's not doing it anymore.
Oh, I bet. Lots of children.
But we do have children's art classes, we do have.
But it's not Dorothy.
No, it's not Dorothy.
Well, I taught school, and it was very easy for me to teach. It's got to have some rosy cheeks here.
Can I tell a story on Dorothy?
Yeah.
Over at the Lighthouse Art Center, we had a high school jury art show. Could you speak up, please? We had a high school art show, and the students' work was all in the main room, and there was one painting that was just beautiful. It was this great big wave smashing against the rocks, and just really beautiful. And I looked at that and I thought, wow, that looks awfully familiar. And I walked into the next room. In the next room, there's one exactly like it. Of the same size and everything. And I looked, and that was John Hewitt. Remember Dr. John Hewitt?
Oh, and I remember the watercolors, the most fabulous thing he's ever done.
She had taken John Hewitt's class, and she turned around and she had taught this student. And the painting came out exactly like John Hewitt's. That was amazing.
And he went on to art school. I can't remember his name, but now Brian.
Yes.
Brian Anderson. Now he does photos for the paper.
Oh.
Oh, is that Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
He's great.
How about that?
His mother didn't know what to do with him. He was having lots of problems, and so he was a little bit interested in art. So she decided to come down and have art classes, and he really got interested in drawing and watercolor, and he did some good pictures. And so they sent him to art school down in Idlewild. And I don't know whether I told them about that school or not, but I was very familiar with it because I lived not far from there. And he got interested in the photography in the school. Not the watercolor, but the photography.
Amazing, yeah.
And now he works for the paper.
Wow.
Yes. Now,
Bet you have a lot of success stories, huh?
yeah, a lot of children, but it's them too. It's just not me. I just gave them the opportunity to. I often make this blue, but I'm going to make it yellow today.
Okay.
When I came, I was fascinated with the Indian baby baskets because I worked with Indians through this.
Had you worked before you came here with Indians?
No.
How did you get started? All these children's coloring books and historical books are by children, about children, but under your direction.
Yes.
So in this bookshelf, you'll see the many books about Indian cultures that do
It
it
has
to
a
help the
little bit
children
of
write
it,
and
yeah.
illustrate.
I'm just making a wash over this, and I'll come back with darker colors and some. I don't know, when I was thinking about doing this, I thought, when I put all the shadows in first, but You notice I didn't do it.
We'll pass some around so you can take a look at it.
It's a wonderful gift for your grandchildren.
It's hard to see from back there, is that still yellow ochre?
No. It's, I don't know what it is. And I don't think I wrote there, but it's a warm yellow. And it's it's a base color for this. I'm not used to using this 300-pound. I have to wait till the face gets dry to put any features in. Hopefully it does get dry. I'm not used to using this heavy paper.
This book is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
And in the directory that everybody gets, there's a history, which I think we're going to make separate from the directory. I don't know if that's a good idea, we'll have to check with you about that. But in the history, it says all the things that Dorothy has written grants for, the easels, the building itself. But then there's a sentence that says grants don't do everything. Dorothy and Francis Curry scraped up the inches of sludge on the floor. And did you lay the carpet or?
It was the asphalt, linoleum.
They laid the asphalt.
tile.
I mean, there was a lot of back-breaking labor.
But, and Gloria and I did it upstairs too.
Wow.
Have you also been a Denanka teacher?
No.
Yes? No?
Sinaka, yes, I was.
Art in the schools.
Yeah, art in the school. Oh, yes, until I got tired of driving around. Like you would maybe go to Klamath in the morning and someplace here in the afternoon, and we went to Gasky, and I really got very tired of driving to the different places.
Have you taken any formal art lessons, Dorothy?
When I was in school, I took it, no, not really, I, just like in junior college.
She taught CR too.
Yeah, I taught in CR. I'm having a little trouble with this because it stays wet. I'm not used to painting on 300 pound.
And it's not exactly a dry day today.
You wanna try drying it with a heater?
Not yet. These baby baskets are just really works of art. And they're very hard. I've tried it.
The one on the table, did you make that one?
No. An Indian lady made that.
If, would anyone be interested in having a demo, a basket demo as part of our Thursday demos?
Yeah.
Okay, I have tried doing artsy craftsy things before and I get nothing but complaints after. Don't do that again. Yeah, so I've tried to pretty much stick to the fine arts, but for a show of hands, how many would like to see an Indian basket display? How many definitely wouldn't? I dare you to raise your hand. A demo.
There's a dryer,
Okay, demo,
Dorothy, if you want.
and if I could talk them into doing a workshop the same afternoon?
You do
Yeah,
it.
just put-
Because we did a workshop in Rachel. We had a
Oh, good, thank you for zooming in, I was wondering. Thank you, Chuck, for zooming in.
You're welcome. Push it down. There you go.
That'll help.
This book is fascinating, but there's an Indian lady that I want to meet. Her name is Bessie Shorey.
Did Dorothy, do you know Bessie Shorey?
Shorty.
Shorty. Shorty. The name's familiar.
Because
No.
it's either her children or grandchildren. I have subbed in classes that they've been in, and they are the nicest children I have ever seen in my life, and I want to know what her secret is. They are precious.
You can sell it, huh?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, good.
Dorothy, do the babies in the baskets, when they're all bundled up, ever get fussy or go into a rage or have a temper tantrum?
I don't know, I haven't seen any.
You know me, because just sit on your lap.
There is security in the basket.
Yeah.
They're now in hospitals trying to teach mothers how to wrap the babies in a security blanket so that they can't move a muscle.
Yeah.
And they say it gives them a sense of security.
Back in my days, that's what they did, and you just wrap them all up nice and snug, and, boy, they just kinda like, okay. Well, they were snug in mama's womb, hello?
Yeah.
And also, Lamaze babies are different. They are different. My sister-in-law's children, they'd reach out for a leaf, and I'd be right there, you know, because they're going to pull the plant over. No, Lamaze children just reach out and touch it, and they're satisfied with that.
Too late we get
I
smart.
know.
Yeah, exactly.
I
don't
jerked
think mine
everything
would.
off into the floor. No, Lamaze babies, just look at it and feel it, that's enough.
Whoa.
Something to do with the drugs, I guess.
You're probably right.
Because they give you something, Lamaze, you don't have anything, I think. Anybody here have Lamaze?
No.
Oh, I had it before they called it that.
So, does that figure with what you've experienced?
I think it just depends. I have 3 children, they're all 3 very different. I had 2
The two gentlemen here are beginning to feel out of it.
I had 2 natural childbirths. My last one, I wasn't able to because she was born 2 months early. So I wasn't able to do what I wanted to have her anyway. She was coming early, but yeah. I just think it really kind of depends on the personality.
My problem is I'm not used to painting on this heavy paper.
You told us that, isn't that amazing?
It is
Dorothy,
so.
the excuse is over, you're already doing a good job.
You will be by the time this is
true.
over.
I know it's beautiful, we're not buying it anymore.
Yeah.
Your secret's out, Dorothy.
Too late. It's out, that's good.
I don't know where it came from, but I've had it for some time.
For sketching, do you use charcoal or just a regular pencil?
I just use regular #2 pencil. And it works better for watercolor because it erases well. If I do a landscape, I don't do this much drawing, but when you do people, you pretty much have to have a little bit to go on.
Yeah, you have to have faces and stuff. She gotta have her nose in the right spot. People are picky about that. Something about proportions and stuff. That's my art teacher. She always found if my nose was slightly askew. Something about naps. Her nose is only so many inches, you know.
I was so fascinated with this when I first came up here.
How come?
I don't know, I'd never seen baby baskets like this.
They are beautiful works of art.
Yes, they are. And the Indian babies seem so happy, and I don't know whether it's security or,
Well, they get to go with mom too.
yeah, that's true. And or that they're just used to them.
I have a friend who swaddled her baby, and the second you would wrap the baby up in a blanket, it was sound asleep. And I thought, I wish that would work with my kids. Just wrap that baby up. I could have done that with any of my kids, like they figured out the blanket.
I'm really having a lot of trouble with this being too wet. I don't want his eyes and mouth to go all over his face here.
I don't think he's moving.
I think that's okay.
I watched the demos up in Brookings, a lot of us belong to that group also. And at the end of the room, you're sitting 50 feet away. I belong to that group, and I begged them to get this video. They've had some wonderful demos, they have no record of it. If any of you miss a demo, you can come in here and watch it the next week. And we
Yeah.
have this wonderful permanent record. And so look at, we're closer to this than the people in the front row.
That's right.
Yes. Good job, Chuck.
Here, here,
Greta, thank you for getting the TVs for us too, though. Setting it up.
Yes, Greta gave lessons for children to pay for the TV.
That's right.
Yes.
And I had one obnoxious little boy, I hope that nobody remembers who he is. And at the end of the lesson, I had adults and children, and Sharon McKinney said, the entire lesson, that little boy he was 8 years old, kicking me as hard as he could. I said, why didn't you tell me? I would have thrown him out of the class. So I think right around then I decided, I had enough money to put the class up. And so the mother took him to Dorothy, and so I went to Dorothy and I said, you have that child in your class? She said, yes. I said, isn't he just terrible? She said, I've had no trouble with him whatsoever. That's the difference between 25 years of teaching experience. It takes more than just being an art teacher.
Well, teachers get that look,
Yes. And you don't lose that look, do you?
No. They're not sure what's going to happen, but they can kind of imagine. You don't have to do anything. You just give them the look. Blue eyes are so much easier to paint than brown eyes. Or black eyes. This eye has gotten quite black. There. Now, when you do a baby's mouth, you don't want to get it too red, but they do have rosy little mouths. So cute. But they're hard to draw. So we're just going to put a little bit of color on him. I think it's a him.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you.
And I've used red with a little yellow in it. You can probably see it down here as well. Anyway.
Uh-oh.
Look up at the screen, Dorothy, that's what we're seeing. Even
Yeah.
better than-
Oh,
Isn't that
and you don't
wonderful?
see the color.
No, we don't.
We did before,
It's just
Dorothy,
started
you
getting
moved
light.
it.
What?
You just moved it a little bit on your thing
Oh.
there, that's all.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, but this is better. And my beads ran, but that's okay, I can just do them over. And,
Yeah, that's gonna be happy, happy. There.
okay.
You can move the camera, Chuck.
Yeah, I'll move the camera next.
I need to do a little more with this basket. And
Pull
I
back a
had
little.
problems that the color just soaked in this heavy paper.
Because you're not used to that heavy paint around.
All together now, because she's not used to that heavy paper.
And I was either brave or foolish to use it.
But we'll never forget this.
You'll know how to paint on it after this.
Or leave it alone. They do these horizontal lines in the basket in groups of 3. And it's very interesting that when they make the basket, they always put a piece of cloth across the top here. And that's to keep only good spirits within the basket. No bad things can enter the basket. And you'll find Indian ladies who do baskets for the younger women, and that's the job of the older women, is to do baskets for the new babies. That they will put this cloth and say a prayer, and
Does it also keep the sun out?
no, they're just beads. Well, they put a cloth across there, a strip of rag is what it is, and then the beads go right on. Made a mess of this.
The mother and the baby in the basket behind you, is that?
Yeah, I
medium?
did that, and when I first came, and
What medium?
this is oil. When I first came, I went to a thing in Klamath. It was right after the flood, and they were raising money to rebuild something. Anyway, we went down there, and I saw this little Indian girl, and I just had to come home and draw her. She was fat. She was almost as wide as she was tall. But she had such a cute face. And so I came, that goes clear back to 1964. And so I came home and I drew her.
Did the mom ever get to see the picture?
I didn't see a mom around. She
Oh.
was just flitting around by herself. And then I did this in a class, and I didn't do what the teacher wanted. He wanted us to do a landscape, and I wasn't in the mood to do a landscape. And so I was the bad girl of the class.
That's true.
But I did paint it. It was that, I can't think of her name now. Anyway, one of the local members.
Well, we give you an A+ on that. You did a great job.
But this teacher came from Klamath Falls, wrote a book. You have his book here. And he was very famous, and he thought it was an insult that I wasn't going to do landscape, because that's what he was teaching. Now, I have to do something with this up here because it ran very badly.
Get your famous toothbrush out.
No, I'm not going to. Most of my problem comes from I'm not used to this. Well, it's true.
So other than this paper that you're used to, have you ever painted on anything else unusual?
Good question.
Yeah, wood. With oils. My father was a carpenter, and he had a lumber yard. There was lots of wood available.
So everything is
So you like steel wood and paint on it?
I did when I was about 10 or, yeah. I hadn't painted a lot, and I did this, it was with poster paint on wood, on a piece, little piece of wood. And I showed it to a family friend, and she took it and she said, "Dorothy, I want that, and I'll buy it from you." I think she gave me 50 cents. And she said, "And I'm going to keep it, and when you're a famous artist, then I'm going to show this to you."
Did she follow through?
She died.
That was rude.
That's what happens when you're 90, you outlive everything.
No, she wasn't 90, she was the daughter.
No, you.
Oh, yeah. That's very true.
Yeah.
I have a friend in Southern California who was my friend during high school, and we're the only ones left out of the group of girls that sort of went around together, you know. And we call each other every now and then just to see if we're still alive.
Greta, is that a prerequisite of being an instructor in here, that you have to divulge your age?
Oh, yeah.
Ruh-roh.
Well, it's such a wonderful thing that, I mean, it's like Dorothy is preparing a place for us. We know that we mind our P's and Q's, we just might.
That's right.
And it should be a productive, wonderful 90. And Amy, of course, is the other one. I mean, both
Yeah,
of these ladies, no cane.
she's a couple years older than I am.
Are you sure, Morgan?
I know.
So since the
She
wood
reminds me of it.
She reminds you of it.
You're the kid. So since the wooden plank when you were 10, what else have you painted on that was strange and unusual? Is that it? Just paper?
I can't think.
Do you ever do any saws? Wood-tongue saws?
Yeah, I did one. I don't really care to do that, but I did it.
Or driftwood or seashells?
Yes, I painted on seashells, I painted on driftwood. But because I had so much wood available to me, I did a lot on wood. And Mother wanted a piece of wood to go over the fireplace in the summertime. And so Dad cut a piece of plywood, and I painted a waterfall and some other stuff, and he helped me. He did part of it. But mostly I've done watercolor. Even when I was a kid, I did watercolor. Now I'm going to see if I can paint those beads again. I think they've dried enough. I didn't realize this paper would hold the water.
No more 30 weight paper for you, huh?
No, it's 300.
Oh,
300.
300, that's right, 300.
I don't know where I got it, but I've had it forever.
Well, now you can add shells, wood, and 300 weight paper to your list
Yeah.
of strange things to paint on.
Well, anyway, some people like it. It's gonna run, but that's okay. Looks like beads. Okay, I think I fooled around with this about enough. And I'm going to just have to decide what I'm going to do in the background. And it's up against a corner.
You bust out your bigger brush now.
Yeah, I should, but I tend to, once I start with a brush, I paint the whole thing with the same brush. I don't know why, it just works that way. And I want to have a color that goes with that. And I think, try this. Whoops.
The idea of that bow on the top is that you can grab it, but they could also hang it on a
Oh,
branch
yes,
while they were working.
they often hang them on trees or posts or whatever. But it's used for carrying too, you know. Those baskets are very handy. As I said, I bought baskets for my daughter and my daughter-in-law. And the basket of my daughter's is in a closed-in porch at my house, packed down. She's never unpacked her stuff. Not all of her stuff anyway, that she brought up from Southern California. So there is a baby basket in there someplace, but I didn't have the heart to ask her to unpack it. My daughter has the yarn shop with Lefa, who's a member of the art club, and Lefa has been very ill with a strange sort of thing that's in the inner ear, and it makes her throw up.
Labyrinthitis?
What?
Labyrinthitis?
I guess so. And she's been in the hospital. She was in the hospital again last night.
Oh, she was?
Yeah. And, but she's home today. And she can't get out of bed.
Because she's so weak.
No.
Or dizzy.
She throws up.
And it has nothing to do with her major problems,
No.
which is that leukemia?
Yeah, she has leukemia. So she isn't very well.
Her husband must be frantic.
I don't know. He's funny.
No.
I don't know.
Well,
whether
he was
is
so
or
used
not.
to being the one that she was so upset over for all those years. Must be shoes on the other foot, you know.
Yeah. Well, now he has to take care of her. And I guess he is. But she went to the hospital twice in the ambulance because she couldn't get out of bed. I don't know why I'm using this small brush. Just because
It's on that 300-pound weight.
Just because it was in my hand, you know. I know there's some people that paint on 300 pound all the time, but I think it's just what you get used to.
It's expensive though, Dorothy. I mean,
I know.
you feel more comfortable with 140 because it's not expensive.
Well, it acts differently than what I'm used to.
You can't roll that 300 stuff.
No.
And it's rougher too.
Well, that, and if you're used to the other paper drying faster, 300-pound paper stays wet longer if you're
Yeah,
using it to.
that's what's bothering me. It stays wet.
300-pound paper is good if
So-
you plan on manipulating it, and then you need the manipulation time to be there for you.
So is there an intermediate between the 140 and the 300 that people use?
There's
I
200,
haven't
isn't
seen
there?
I don't know. I don't think so.
200 or something, or 250? Remember.
I think there is.
I think there's a 200 pound.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought there was
but
two.
it's not.
There should be.
Most of the catalogs just go from 140 to 300.
I thought there was two.
I like the 140.
But this is rougher. It's called cold press, but it's a lot rougher than 300 cold press.
This one isn't terribly rough, so I don't know whether it's a cold press or not. Anyway, outside of fooling around and doing little things on it, and we have a baby.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Imagine exactly 1 o'clock. Beautiful. Dorothy, would you tell us a little bit about the painting above it? Is that your granddaughter?
Yes, that's my granddaughter.
And she appears in a lot of your paintings in just that pose.
Well, yeah, she loved to play on the beach. And when she'd come up, she often came, you see, Karen worked and so Debbie came and lived with grandmas during the summer.
That's Debbie?
Yeah, and so she would stay with her grandma in, I don't know where it is, Paradise. And they're all old people there. And so she would look forward to coming to Crescent City because there were so many things to do. And she loved the beach. And she would turn cartwheels and back bends and in the surf right here, you know, where the water is shallow. And she used to play on the beach all the time. And she just loved it. And so that's Debbie with her hair.
I like the beach where it's shimmering.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
That wet
Yeah.
sand is wonderful.
And the reflection.
How old is your
A lot
granddaughter
of that
now?
is accidental, you know.
Accidentally perfect, huh?
You look at it up close and you don't see it. And then you get it farther away and you think, oh, did I do that?
Yeah.
Because they hadn't really intended to at all.
And how old is Debbie now?
Debbie has a boy that's out of school and has a job. And I have no idea how old she is. She's 40. She could be. She's 40?
I think that was my daughter's story.
Yeah. And that's Karen, my daughter's daughter. And,
Karen's not your daughter?
yeah.
Karen's your daughter.
Yeah,
And Debbie's your granddaughter.
Yeah.
And Debbie has, so your great-grandson has a job.
Yeah.
Debbie's son has a job.
Yes.
Debbie's your grandson, so the son
Oh,
is your
yeah.
great-grandson.
Oh, yeah, he's out of school.
Uh-huh. I got that straight.
What a wonderful gift for your granddaughter, that she can see herself in her.
Oh, I don't think she cares.
I
Karen
need to send letters.
That's
And this was printed out a couple weeks
So I can't,
between then
and
and now.
my little Indian baby
Check
has
anybody on this list
faded
that has
out.
paid their dues.
I'll have to make the face a little darker.
Thank you.
But it's all on account of the 300 pounds.